Guys, what's the crack? Bitcoin with Dinny. It's Dinny here. Check out that little view there. It's beautiful. Rich people are getting blindsided by this. And poor people. And everybody in the middle. But I just want to sort of map it out. Make it simple. And help you guys, as usual, with your understanding of Bitcoin. What it is, how it works. Why you need to pay attention to it. And how you can use it to retire yourself early. And if that sounds good, all I ask is that you give the like button a nice little press. It's called your daily exercise. I'm walking into town now this morning for my daily exercise. Didn't get any surf this morning, living out in northern Spain. If anyone's new here, welcome to the channel. My name is Dinny, and my passion is teaching people about Bitcoin, because everything you know about money is wrong, and everything you know about Bitcoin is wrong. And if you can figure both those things out, you don't have to work as hard as your peers will, who don't know these things, and you will be able to retire early. And over the last couple of years, we've taught a lot of people how to retire early through consulting and just by following on the channel and taking the bits of advice. But where we are today, guys, is Bitcoin today costs 35,000 euros. Okay? And I want you to walk through this with me so you can really understand the situation that's happening here. If you've been following this channel, you'll know that I've been harping on about this ETF, and there's a 90% chance it gets approved in January. They're pretty good odds, like. They're the type of odds I like to push my chips in. 90% chance of success. Okay, but it's 90% chance this thing gets approved in January. And that takes Bitcoin to 1 million. And when I say that, it sort of pushes away people who don't really understand it. So I have to dumb myself down. And I say, well, that takes Bitcoin to 100 grand. Let's take it there first so we don't scare people away with crazy numbers. And this is just math, okay? It's nothing about pulling numbers out of your arse. It's just the amount of wealth that's sitting on the sidelines that needs to get into this asset versus the amount of wealth that's within this asset. And because it's a fixed supply asset, unlike every other asset that we have on the planet, our assets that we can always create more of, Bitcoin is a fixed supply asset. Okay? So the price can move more than you think it should, basically. It's called exponential growth. It's like, as Jeff Booth says, if you take a piece of paper and you fold it 5 times, it's a couple of millimeters thick. If you fold it another 45 times, it gets you to the sun. That's exponential growth. Humans don't comprehend it very well. They don't understand it very well. We think, okay, instead of just using the math. So, at the moment, Bitcoin is priced at 35,000 euros. That's priced out a lot of people, okay? It's even priced out wealthy people. Because even if you're doing well, okay, and you've got a nice property portfolio, even if it's 7 figures, the chances are that you don't have 200 grand sitting in a bank account, okay? All your money's tied up in assets, okay? Because you need about 200 grand sitting in a bank account to buy 1 Bitcoin, because 1 Bitcoin's 35 grand. If you only have 35 grand sitting in a bank account, you're not going to put all that into Bitcoin. Okay, you're only going to put a small percentage in. Alright? Now here's the irony though. I know a fella, particularly one guy springs to mind, but I know loads of people in this situation, who done the work on Bitcoin, okay, a couple of years ago, and they own 1 coin. Okay, they're a whole coiner. I know some people who live in council house who own more than 1 Bitcoin. Alright? So there's the irony. You know, British Hodl talks a lot about this, and that's why he goes on about getting to 1 Bitcoin and all this. Alright? But this is just it playing out in real terms. I know a fellow who lives in a council house who owns more than 1 Bitcoin. He owns an asset that someone today with a big property portfolio, okay, they've got their own house plus a couple of other houses, he owns an asset that they can't afford. Alright? And this is why it's called a wealth transfer. And this is why the time is running out to try and get your share of that wealth transfer. And this is why even if you're already rich and you think you're doing everything right, you're about to get blockbustered. Because what worked in the past isn't going to work in the future. It's obvious with the debt crisis that we have. Okay? And it's obvious that we have this new technology. Remember, people selling horse and carts, okay, they didn't realise that the car was going to disrupt their business, and it didn't matter how efficient they made their horse and cart. It didn't matter how cheap they were able to sell them for. That didn't matter, because the car was a better technology, and it disrupted it. The way technology moves today is disruption happens much faster. So the horse and cart versus the car, it took a period of decades. Blockbuster versus Netflix, it took a decade, 1 decade, okay, to totally disrupt how we consume media. Alright? And here we are in finance now, in store of value assets, something humans have used for thousands of years. And now we've got a massive disruption. Okay? And we're in the thick of it, we're in the precipice of it, because we've got institutions queuing up, 12 of them, with their applications across the road here to the SEC. So it's obvious that we are going to adopt a digital store of value rather than all these inferior physical store of value assets that we have, like property. Okay? And that's why it's a wealth transfer, because there's someone today living in a council house, okay, which in traditional sense is a poor person, but they own an asset that a wealthy person can't afford. And that gap's only going to get bigger. Because once Bitcoin spot ETF launches, which is 90% chance happens in January, that takes Bitcoin to 6 figures. Now millionaires can't even afford Bitcoin. Because even if you're a multi-millionaire, the chances are, if you're going to buy one full Bitcoin for 100 grand, maybe you need $1 million in your bank account to put 10% of it in, or at least 500 grand sitting in a bank account. Okay? We're ruling out a lot of people here. The majority of the world doesn't have 500 grand or $1 million sitting in a bank account in cash that they can put 10 or 20% of that into Bitcoin. So the person living in the council house still owns an asset that a multi-millionaire can't afford. Wind it on a decade and we'll see who the wealthy person is. Okay? The trend is your friend until the end, and it's clear the way this is trending. Bitcoin's going up, nothing else is keeping up. Those who own Bitcoin and price their wealth in Bitcoin are the future wealthy people on the planet. And it doesn't matter if you're already wealthy now, okay? Because some lad living in a council estate owns something that you can't afford. And then he'll own something that your really rich friends can't afford. And then he'll own something that someone worth 50 million can't afford. So this is the trend that we focus on. This is why I say to people, study Bitcoin, study it as fast as you can, because this ETF is coming. It's coming on soon, and once this event occurs, it's likely that people miss out on the easiest way to retire early. Oh, by the way, I might as well say to you, I'm doing a Black Friday sale. If you go onto my website and put in Black Friday, you get a discount on everything I do. It went out in our email to all our newsletter people. Not that I write many newsletters, lads, let's be honest. But the Black Friday sale is live, so if anyone's interested in getting off the fence, instead of sitting on that fence, watching everything I do, and assuming that you know this and you know that, get off the fence, take some action, invest into yourself, invest into your future, learn the information, because I hate trying to push people, but there's a sense of urgency here. This should have been done. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. We won't even say that, okay? But the window's is getting tight now. January ain't far away. Get yourself positioned. Owning 100 quid of Bitcoin or 1,000 quid of Bitcoin's probably not going to cut it. Okay? You have an opportunity now to capture a lot more of that before the thing goes out of your reach. And this isn't financial advice. Nothing I say is financial advice, okay? It's up to you to do the work on it, and you to make the decision what you should do. But if you do the work, the decision becomes really clear. If you get the education, the decision becomes blatantly clear. That's what I done when I got into the space first. I hired the experts, paid them a shitload of money, sit down and talk to them. They gave me the education, and then I knew the action I needed to take. It was very clear. Okay, I didn't ask my friends. I didn't go into the bank and ask the bank teller, nor did I ask the bank manager. I asked people who understand the space, who are in the space, and I had success in the space. Anyway, give you a little look at the view here. It's so picturesque around here. It's really beautiful. There's the town over there. I'm just walking in to the shops, going to get a bit of bread, get a caffè con leche, get a croissant a la planche, maybe get a tostada, dos huevos, s'il vous plaît. Throwing a bit of French. Guys, have a super day. Remember, don't get blockbustered if you're a wealthy person. Okay, this is a wealth transfer. And don't wait till you can't afford it to try and buy your wealth insurance. Dinny out.